Okay, so this is the sixth installment in my series on the Sunzi Bingfa, or the Art of War by Sun Tzu. Last time, if you remember, we went through the last few of the 5 different categories that Sun Tzu uses to judge the way that warfare is going to turn out. Now, I've listed those 5 things here along the left side here. If you remember, we have something like Wei, or Dao. We have Tian, or heaven. We have Di, or earth. We have Jiang, or general, like the person, a general. And we have method, or Fa, down here. I'll change this color if I can. I'm not sure why it's doing that. Okay, so this sentence that we have here actually is going to make a statement about those 5 things. He starts with this topic here, which I'll draw a line. So if you'll notice we have the nominalization or topic marker here, and that's actually going to collect these 3 characters together into one nominal statement. So first I'm going to introduce this character fan. So fan means something like each, or every. Okay? So also, I guess I should say, if you remember, heaven means something like time. Earth is something like a geography. General is the general, the people. Wei, I forgot to mention that Dao can also be an alternative character for this character, Dao, which means to guide. Okay, and actually in one of the commentaries on the Sunzi Bingfa by Cao Cao, he's a famous general from the Three Kingdoms period. He actually glosses this Dao character as Dao, to guide. So sometimes we can get a little bit different perspectives if we do take a look at some of the commentaries. But I do think that this is probably more in line with what's actually happening. I think in a later video I'm actually going to go over some of the commentary from Cao Cao, because it is actually pretty enlightening the way that he reads as a general the art of war. And then method was just the ways that administration was taking place. But okay, so back to the sentence. Fan means something like each and every. Ci, the second character, is something like this or these. And the third character there, Wu, is just the number 5. 5. Okay, so taken together with this nominalization marker, collecting this into one nominal phrase, we have each of these 5 things, the 5 things that we've already talked about that are listed here. So that's our big topic, okay? But now we're going to have 3 comments that each have their own topic, okay? So here we have a topic, general, or jiang. It's the same general that we saw here, part of the 5 things. So of the generals,莫不闻, here we have 2 negations. One that we've already learned, and one that's a little bit different. So, 不, we already know, is a verbal negation. That means that when you place it in front of a verb, it makes it not that verb. So in this case, we have the verb to hear, or to listen, when. So if you put the verbal negation in front of it, it means to not listen or to not hear. Now this one, mo, is a nominal negation. That means that it negates a noun. It means something like none. None of these. So what we have here in this little phrase, this little comment, the topic, generals. So of the generals, none cannot hear. So that means that all of them need to hear. Hear what? All of them need to hear these 5 things. They need to be made aware of these 5 different categories. By who? By the leader. Okay? But we'll talk more about that as we get through the text. But that's basically what we see here. So the generals, none cannot hear. All of them need to hear. Great. Great. So now the topic of our next one is actually much larger. So we see this topic marker or nominalization marker here collecting up these words here. So 知 means to know. Okay? And 知, we've seen many times already, is acting as a placeholder. It's acting in the stead of something else. What is it taking the place of? The 5 things. So this 者 is basically, not only do we think of it just as like a nominalization marker or a topic marker, but we can think of it as something like those. Those who know it. Those who know what? Those who know each of these 5 things. What about them? Our comment is 胜. They will win. They will be victorious. To win. To be victorious. Okay? Now our next comment here is rather similar, except it has these 2 verbal negations. So if you take those 2 verbal negations out, you're left with 知者, which if we look back at what we saw here, that means those who know. Those who know. Okay? But with this verbal negation, it becomes those who do not know. And what about them? So that's our topic. What about them? 不胜. So instead of to win, we have the verbal negation on to win, making it to not win. So what do we have here? We have, with regard to these 5 things, of the generals, none cannot know, so they all must know. Those who know it, those who know the 5 things, will win. Those who do not know will not win. You'll notice that there's a stylistic choice made here where the author, Sun Tzu, leaves out the 知 that we see here. So we see here there's that placeholder 知. Here we don't see it. But we know that we could insert it if we wanted to, and that's just a stylistic choice by the author. Okay, so that's that whole sentence there. Pretty quick, not too bad. Now, that leaves us with a little bit of time to just briefly take a look at this following statement, because we've actually already seen it. So this was actually mentioned in lesson 2, in video 2, where we have, okay, 故 we've seen many times. That just means therefore. And if you go back, I'm not going to repeat all the details of this in terms of the grammar and stuff, but we have 教之以计, that means to judge it, judge them, judge the 5 things in your planning. And then, that's the coordinating marker that we've seen before. Coordinating. Something like and, or and then. And then what? Search for its circumstance. So find the circumstances of these 5 things. So judge them, judge the 5 things in your planning, and then search for their circumstances. Okay, so if you want the details of the grammar and vocabulary here, you can go back and check out video number 2, where you'll get a much more detailed explanation of this. But here, I'm just going to say we've seen this before, and next time we're going to pick up where we left off here and move on to the next statement. Hope you guys enjoyed watching, and I'll see you again next time.